AD is better than Giannis. Harden ruins the Nets. I think Kyrie and KD were fine by themselves. All right, this one just says Rockets will make the Western Conference Finals. Okay, I like this one a lot, actually. What's up, guys? My name is Devin. I run the Who Am I NBA Instagram account. Most of y'all are probably from the Instagram account anyway, so you already know what it is. But if you're not, you should definitely go follow. It's basically just trivia. You try to guess the player as you go through, the hints. They get progressively easier. So if you get it on the first hint, that's impossible. That's great. If you get it on the second one, that's hard. That's less great, and then so on and so on. You get 4 hints to guess the player. Go follow it. It's a pretty good account. A lot of people like it. And recently, I found this app called Community that kind of just lets me text y'all directly. There's some automated stuff that y'all will see, but most of it I can actually see all the messages you have, and it looks like a text messaging app to me. So I thought it would be pretty dope to kind of just see if I can get you guys to text me your hot takes and then let me react to them. There's only a few of you guys so far, just about 20. But you had some pretty good takes in here. I'm going to try to react to as many as possible. I mean, some of them I just agree with, and they're not really hot takes in my opinion. They're just like, yeah, I mean, if this were true, then of course that would happen. So, all right, let's see. Chris Paul is a top 3-point guard in the league right now. Yeah, I would say absolutely. He's playing out of his mind. He's Chris Paul. You would like to see maybe like Luka play a little better, Trae Young play a little better, get his efficiency numbers up. I think too many players in the league, especially guards, are too focused on the numbers and the box score and what's going to show up at the end of the game, and less focused on the efficiency of those numbers. They're putting up way more shots than they should, and it kind of hurts their teams. And you see every player that's playing like that, their team is struggling right now. So, is it cool that you're scoring 30 a game? Yeah. Is it cool that you're losing? No. Chris Paul, definitely top 3-point guard in the league. Just the way he's playing right now, he's unstoppable. Respect. Kawhi is the MVP right now. Look at his stats. And I said over Jokic, and he's like 100%. Yeah, I mean, he's playing unbelievable right now, so it's hard to argue with that. He's definitely in the MVP race, as he should be. The Joker is he's also just playing out of his mind. I've never seen somebody play at the pace that he plays and dominate just the most athletic guys in the world the way he does. It really is a testament to the skill that he has. Obviously helps to be as tall as he is, but there's tons of 7-footers out there. And actually, fun fact, there are a small amount of 7-footers in the world, and of those 7-footers, 16% of those play in the NBA. Isn't that crazy? Kawhi's the MVP right now. I agree. Kawhi's playing very well, but it's kind of it's a coin toss between him and Jokic. Like, Jokic's also playing just absolutely absurd. So you got to give it to Jokic just for fanfare, right? That's what MVP is. Next one. Hornets are a playoff team. Yeah, probably. I would say so. I mean, there's 10 teams that basically get to be in the playoffs this year, so that's a lot of room for a team like the Hornets to sneak their way in. I'd like to see it. D Rose will keep the throne for youngest MVP for a long time. Honestly, I like this take because I think it's right. I think he's right because players are just getting too good as they're getting older, and as this generation leaves, LeBron, Russ, Harden, Kyrie, KD, Steph, even Chris Paul, Carmelo, as they retire, we have these new guys flooding in, taking their spots, who are already almost MVP level guys. I mean, Giannis is already right there. So there's going to be plenty of guys who are capable of getting MVP, and the chances of a younger guy getting it are just going to be diminished. So, I agree with that. D-Book will never average more than 28 points per game. I mean, sure, maybe 28 points per game is nice. That's a great career. So, if I was D-Book and I was averaging that, I'd be happy. Fox is better than Jamal Murray. I would say there are times that he looks better. He's definitely more consistent, for sure. But I also do think that Jamal Murray gets outshined by Jokic a lot of times. If Jamal was the guy, the number one guy on the team, and he had the ball in his hands all the time, I think he would be one of the better players in the league right now. I think he would be easily one of the better guards. But back to Fox, he's having a better year this year. He's way more consistent, and I just like the way he plays. He's just a dominant guy. If you guys are following the Instagram page, then you know that I played Fox in high school, and not like AAU, but actual high school. We had a tournament and an exhibition tournament in Houston. He put 52 on our heads, dunked multiple times, hit 35 footers. The kid was unstoppable, fastest guy I've ever played against. He was taller than everybody back then. He was taller than me back then, and did I think he was going to be league at that time? No. I didn't have any reference point, but, I have a lot of respect for him just because I played against him, and he dominated. So, AD is better than Giannis. I mean, AD is playing out of his mind. Is he better than Giannis? No. I mean, two-time MVP, absolutely unstoppable offensively, incredible defender. AD is a comparable defender, but Giannis can guard on the perimeter, he can guard in the post. AD is just less athletic. And I know that's weird to say because he's mad athletic, but Giannis is a freak of nature. And he's the prototypical guy that every scout is looking for, or was looking for back when he was being recruited. Now the NBA is changing and they're looking more for guys like Luka and guys who are a little bit savvy with the ball. But Giannis is just, a ridiculous talent, and he's one of the best players in the league right now, and so is AD. I mean, they're pretty comparable. They just play two different positions. It's hard to say one guy's better because they're better at different stuff, But if I were to just say straight up who's better, I have to say Giannis. I've seen he's done incredible stuff. So is AD. But he also said Luka will be a top 5 player of all time when it's all said and done. No, I don't think so. Because in order for him to achieve that, I'm looking at Harden and him, and I equate the two just based on how they play. And Harden's numbers are ridiculous. And is Harden going to be going down as a top 5 player of all time? Probably not. So is Luka going to get there? Probably not. I mean, he'll probably get there just based on media attention and fanfare. But is he going to be as successful? Probably not. As successful as in winning championships, winning MVPs. Is that going to happen? Maybe. Not this year. He's not playing well enough this year. So we'll see. I mean, everyone was high on Luka in the bubble. I wasn't even high on Luka. So back then, if you would have told me that, I would have been yeah, this guy's the future. Right now, watching him play, I'm not seeing it. He's putting up too many shots. He's losing his efficiency offensively, and the Mavs just are going through a rough patch right now. So I saw a lot of stuff about D Rose in here, which was interesting. But this guy says D Rose would have been a top 10 greatest player of all time if he never got injured. I think so. I mean, look at the way he's playing post-injury. He's still playing well. He's not averaging 30 a game, but 20 a game. I mean, that's ridiculous. Post-injury, with less explosiveness, I think he would have been top 10 greatest player. And who knows? He probably would have been the subject of crazy trades, or people would have been coming to his team to try to help him win a championship if he would have had stayed healthy. It would have been similar to Harden. Harden's trying to figure out how he can win a championship before he retires. D Rose would have been in the same boat where he's really, really hunting for a championship. And I think that would have. But what makes me hesitant though is that he's saying greatest player of all time, and I'm gonna have to say no. This one was a hard one, and I'm not really sure. I'm still not even sure where I land on it, but it's Donovan Mitchell right now is a top 3 shooting guard in the league, and in his prime will be easily the best in the league and be better than 09 Wade and prime Harden. So, okay, what are his reasonings behind this? Like, why does he think this? He says he's more lethal inside the three-point line, better defender, smarter, better leader, and better playmaker. Yeah, I mean, is he better inside the three-point line? Who knows? Harden gets fouled every play. Every time he goes inside the three-point line, Harden gets fouled. So, like, it's hard to match that kind of efficiency when you know you're going to get a bucket the moment you step inside the three-point line, or the moment you decide you're going to go for a layup. How do you compete with that? You're going to get at least 1 point. Like, Harden's going to get at least 1 point every time he steps inside the three-point line. So, is Donovan Mitchell doing that? No. And then can Donovan Mitchell hit threes at the same clip that Harden can? No. Where everyone knows what he's going to do. Tween, step back. Wet. Every time. And everyone knows it. It's just like LeBron when he does that stupid look at his hand, shoot thing. I love LeBron, but sometimes he just pisses me off. 09 Wade, I think, is more interesting because the way they play is a little bit more comparable. Like, D-Wade was extremely explosive. Better. He wasn't even that great he was good from the three-point line, but he was comparable to Donovan Mitchell from the three-point line. And when they got in the paint, both of them were just extremely explosive. So I think they would probably be on par. I think Donovan Mitchell is like our generation's D-Wade. I would say that. That's a hot take. All right, this one was tough for me. Prime Russ was better than Prime Dame and Prime D-Rose. I see why, you would say that, especially if you just look at the numbers, but I don't even know if we've seen Prime Dame yet. He scored 30 points per game in the bubble, and, he started off the season slow, of course, but, he is capable of scoring over 30 points a game still, right now, and I did a video on Dame, so I did a lot of research on him. He's getting better every single year. Every single season, he's getting way better. His numbers in percentages are getting better, like his field goal percentage, his three-point percentage. He's taking more shots, and not only is he taking more shots, he's making more of the shots that he's taking. So, he's on an upward trajectory. Where does that stop? Where does he plateau? We don't even know yet. I don't know if we've seen Prime Dame. We've seen Prime Russ. Could he get back to the way he was playing before? Probably not. But, Prime Russ was unstoppable. And I think Prime Russ was better than... I don't even want to say that because Prime D-Rose was just ridiculous. I don't even want to say that. I will say, though, I think if I were to rank them, or if my take on this one is, we haven't seen Dame's prime yet. I don't think we've seen it. D-Rose, I don't even think we saw D-Rose's prime, but if we're saying it's his MVP season, and we're comparing D-Rose's MVP season to Russ's MVP season, you got to say that Russ's MVP season was better just because of the sheer numbers. And was he stat padding? Yes. But were they winning games? Yeah, they were winning games. It's not like it was hurting the team that much. He was still just absolutely dirty offensively and defensively. So I think Prime Russ was better than Prime D-Rose. I don't know if Prime Russ is better than Prime Dame because I don't think we've seen Prime Dame. James Harden is being forced to be the third option on the Nets. I mean, somebody's got to be the third option, right? KD, Kyrie, Harden, somebody's got to be the guy. Only one guy could shoot the ball at the end of the game when the buzzer goes off. And it can't be all three of them chucking it up there. So, somebody's got to be the third guy. And it makes sense that it's the guy who showed up last. You can't even compare these players. I mean, obviously you can put KD on another level. At least I personally put KD on a higher tier than Harden and Kyrie. But when it comes to Harden and Kyrie, you're basically just picking between two different play styles. Both guys are clutch. Both guys can get a shot off whenever they want at an extremely efficient rate. I would honestly, if I was coach, if I was Steve Nash, I would put Harden above Kyrie only for the fact that if it's coming down to a last second shot, I want the ball in Harden's hands because he's probably going to get fouled, and we'll get that foul call. So, like, that's the only reason why. I think they both could equally make the shot if given the opportunity. But at the end of the day, you got to give the ball to KD anyway. Then it just becomes about Kyrie versus Harden. Who's the third option? Who's the second option? I think it's got to be Harden for now. When it hits playoff time, who knows? I mean, I hate to say it, and I hate to put this bad mojo out in the world, but one of them is probably going to get injured. That just seems to be just the way the NBA works. It seems to be the way sports work. One of them's probably going to get injured, and it won't even be an issue by the time the playoffs come around. But I hope it doesn't happen. I probably shouldn't even say that. Dallas will miss the playoffs. Honestly, the way they're playing right now, when I watch them, they just look like a team that is missing something. And it's on offense. They're missing something offensively. And honestly, I don't want to put the blame on Luka, but I'm putting the blame on Luka because if you look at his numbers, he's not very efficient this year at all. But he's just not getting it done efficiently. And the other guys on the team aren't helping him out, or he's not letting them. Something's going on there. And I think a lot of it has to do with chemistry. So, like, we'll see with this team. Luka, I think, has ice in his veins. I think he's clutch. I think he might get it done down the stretch. I think that might happen. Like, as he's realizing, like, oh shit, we might not make the playoffs. Like, we got to buckle down. I think he might get it together for the team, but you never know. We'll see. The way they look right now, they're not going to make the playoffs. All right, this one just says Rockets will make the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, like, that's like the hottest take I've probably seen. Like, every single one of the Rockets players, like, all of their, like, big three guys, you look at Boogie. I mean, Christian Wood is nice. Like, he's got to be their main guy. But if you look at all of their other guys, Oladipo, John Wall, and Boogie, they all have a massive chip on their shoulder. And, you know, that can be great. That makes you like a team where it's like, man, these guys really got something to prove. They're going to come out here and prove it. But it only works if that chip is shared with all of them. They all kind of have their own individual things. Like, John Wall is salty about the Wizards, Oladipo is salty about the Pacers, Boogie's salty about the refs, and it's just like they're all on their own individual mission, and it's not a team thing that they're going and they're trying to prove themselves as a team, as the Rockets franchise. So I just don't think they're going to mesh together, especially not going to make the Western Conference Finals. They might get a 9 or a 10 seed going into the playoffs. They might even get like an 8 or a 7 seed going into the playoffs. But, you know, when you know, it gets down to it, are they going to win? No, probably not. LaMelo Ball will be a Hall of Fame star. I mean, maybe. Like, who knows? He's playing well. He's being flashy. ESPN loves him. You know, he's going to be a star. Whether he's good or not, he's going to be a star. Is he going to be a Hall of Famer? Who knows? Maybe. He's got to shoot better. The Warriors would be a top 4 seed in the West if they were healthy and Wiggins and Oubre stepped up. If you mean by healthy as in Klay Thompson is back, then they're easily a top 4 seed. I mean, Splash Brothers are back. The NBA would be back to normal. It's kind of sad that Klay's out because the Warriors are pretty much irrelevant at this point in terms of if they're going to win a championship or not, let alone even make the playoffs. So, yeah, if Klay Thompson was back, they would definitely be a top 4 team. I think Oubre and Wiggins absolutely have to step up. Oubre, of course, like, he's playing well. He brings a lot of heart, but, you know, offensively, you got to put the ball in the basket or else you're not going to win the game. That's just the way it works. So, Gordon Hayward is going to go back to all-star level Gordon Hayward this season because of Charlotte. Well, I mean, the way he's playing right now, yes, absolutely. I mean, he's playing like he just... so here's my take about Gordon Hayward. I think the Celtics were a young, exciting team, and they were building with Jason Tatum, and they had Kyrie back then, and obviously Jaylen Brown, and they had Gordon Hayward, and they were like, this is going to be our team, and we're going to be a playoff team, and we're going to, you know, build it up and grow together and eventually become champions. It's like, yeah, every team's doing that, but they had a real shot, and everybody was excited about them because they had really likable players. The only problem is Gordon Hayward was hurt the majority of that time. And so when the team started to get better, they were playing together, they were building chemistry, they were bonding, just the little things like bonding over experiences of traveling and playing a tough game and, getting pissed in the locker room or, winning a tough one. Just those little things that make you tight with the team. He wasn't there for that because he was injured. And I could see how the animosity grew out of that. Like, that's just the way it is. He just wasn't around for it. And I think him going to Charlotte was just a breath of fresh air for him. I think he will be an all-star. All-star level Gordon Hayward? Maybe. He might be better, honestly. Okay, I like this one a lot, actually. It says, even if Giannis has a great career, he will never be in the GOAT conversation because of his size and play style. Okay, I don't necessarily agree with the size part of it. Because KD, let's say KD runs off 3 or 4 more championships somehow. He's in the GOAT conversation. But play style, absolutely. The fact that he's not not shooting threes. The fact that he isn't doing tween step back, hezzy, tween, dunk. That's just there are ways to stop you. There are more ways to stop Giannis than there are a guy like MJ, LeBron, guys like that. The Mavericks will win a chip in the next 5 years. Maybe. I mean, they need to make some trades. They need more guys who can shoot, more guys who can defend, and just bigger 3-and-D guys. That's what they need. And and they need to fill Luka with more confidence. I think Luka's losing his confidence right now. The Cavs will be good sooner than later. Yeah, I mean, they have Sexton. They have a good core. They're going to be good. They'll be all right. Harden ruins the Nets. I think Kyrie and KD were fine by themselves. He essentially is backing up his answer by saying the Nets lost their depth to get Harden. So essentially the take is that the Nets lost out on this trade. That they would have been a far better contender if they would have just kept the guys that they had instead of making the trade for Harden. Which, if you look at them now, they can't play any defense. They lost to the Wizards twice in a row. And the Wizards can only beat teams that have terrible defense. Because they have terrible defense. So, did Harden ruin them? Not necessarily. I think there's a meshing that needs to happen. There's chemistry that needs to be made. I think Steve Nash has the hardest job in the world right now. So we'll see. But defensively, I think, him going there made them much weaker. Absolutely. And I think the only way that they can overcome this lack of defense is by making some kind of trade. And if you can do that without getting rid of Harden, Kyrie, or KD, then you're in good shape. But that's the last one. Thanks for watching. Probably going to do more of these, maybe 3 times a week. They're pretty fun. If you want to send me your hot takes, have me react to them, and then have people talk about them in the comments, you guys should definitely be commenting your opinions. I know you definitely do not agree with all of these takes and do not agree with everything that I just said, so I just want to hear your opinions on this. If you have your own takes that you want me to react to and you want me to put out there, let me know. Text me, actually. I'll put my number up on the screen. I use an app called Community. I think I said that earlier, but it makes it easier to text you guys and get your opinions on stuff for sure. So if you're not following the Instagram page, go ahead and go follow it. Hit subscribe, hit the like button, do all that jazz. And I'll probably have another video coming out in a couple days.